Hello and welcome to Newfoundland and Labrador Studies 2205. This is Unit 2, The Roots of Our Culture, Section 3, Lesson 1, Changes and Developments in Europe. Of course, I'm Miss Fleming, and I'm here with you for these lessons. Let's get going. So before we begin, I wanted to ask you something. Did you know that European explorers were not expecting to encounter Turtle Island? You see, when European contact was made with indigenous peoples, they were looking for an alternate route to Asia for trading. The Americas were completely unexpected. Remembering, once people started to expand out into the world, two very distinct land masses with groups of people had no knowledge of each other whatsoever. So let's talk about some changes in Europe. Since the fall of the Roman Empire in 476 CE, Western Europe remained relatively unchanged through to the year 1200 CE, remembering CE meaning Common Era. This is categorized as a traditional economy, in which people use resources the same way as previous generations. Between 1200 and 1400 CE, Europe began to change in subtle ways, and this was thanks to the establishment of universities. Knowledge increased and eventually created a society where new ideas emerged. Before that, not a whole lot of change happened. And it was trade with Asia that spurred some more change. Western Europe traded with Asia for centuries, for goods such as silk and spices. There was an extensive network of trade routes through Central Asia, the Caspian, Black, and Mediterranean seas, referred to as the Silk Road. Music, art, and ideas were shared between the people as a result of this relationship. But things changed in the 15th century meaning 1400s, when the Ottoman Empire rose up in Europe and the Middle East. Trade routes such as the Silk Road became difficult and dangerous, as the middle of the route was in territory now seized by the Ottoman Empire, so alternate routes had to be found. So, what they decided to do was go across the sea. Navigational and shipbuilding advancements helped make new route exploration possible. Western Europe's population was undergoing a large growth period, with a growing demand for more resources. So, a competition emerged between Spain and Portugal to find the fastest route to Asia by sea. Portuguese fleets traveled along the coast of Africa to India, while Spain went west across the Atlantic Ocean. Around the same time, Juan Caboto of Italy, you may know him by his anglicized name, John Cabot, was funded by England on his own transatlantic voyage, but just further north than the fleet from Spain, in hopes of getting to Asia faster. He neared present-day Newfoundland and Labrador. He was amazed by the sea filled with codfish. While King Henry VII was disappointed he did not return with spices, he recognized the value in fish for the people of England. Upon hearing this news, other European nations sent vessels to the area to exploit the resource for their people. By the early 1500s, Portugal, Spain, and French fleets were being sent across the Atlantic annually for fish in the summer. In those days, fish meant salted cod. It was an inexpensive protein with a long shelf life, and being small in size, it was easily transportable. So let's talk about that. This cured fish could be stored all winter, while meat was scarce, and thanks to these qualities, it was utilized by armies on the move, urban people, and by mariners on overseas voyages. Also, fish was widely consumed by Catholics and some Protestants on Fridays, and during Lent as part of religious observance. The transatlantic fishery also provided jobs and the economy. It either directly or indirectly employed many people in harvesting and preserving fish. The industry was also supported by manufacturers of salt, nets, hooks, and barrels. The French and English governments also saw the migratory fishing industry as a way to train men for their navies to prepare for European conflict. So now let's talk about a new pattern that emerged. This time of exploration and change sparked conflict in Europe. Strong monarchies arose in some countries, which then battled others for power and prestige. These effects were felt in present-day Newfoundland and Labrador as the location and migratory fishing industry became a point of conflict, mainly between England, France, and Spain. Additionally, English merchants began selling fish to France as a result of religious turmoil in France between Protestants and Catholics between 1562 and 1598, as the conflict disrupted France's participation. And wars between Spain and England then disrupted Spain's participation, but the demand in Spain remained high, so English merchants sold fish in Spain as well. All of this contributed to England's domination over present-day Newfoundland and Labrador. This, combined with its growing powers in Europe, brought about the dominance of British colonialism. And we will discuss colonialism at length in a lesson later in this unit. So now it's time to review what you've learned. Complete the activities in Brightspace, and I hope you have a great day.